Hello, welcome to Spark Joy Astrology. It is Tuesday, June 20th already. I don't know how time flies so fast, but here we are. And in spirit of introducing you to which planet rules the day, like I did yesterday, let's do it again today. Mars rules Tuesdays. So maybe you feel a bit more ambitious, driven, and passionate on Tuesdays. Maybe you feel a bit more hot-tempered, maybe some ego clashes, but most definitely some hot and spicy energy on Tuesday. And this Tuesday is even more hot and spicy because Mars is conjunct asteroid Black Moon Lilith. They are in the sign of Leo at 18 degrees, and they come into exact alignment at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time when they come into 18 degrees and 15 minutes. But that energy is potent today. They are in conjunction all day long. So know that there is this energy available to us to become an advocate, our best advocate for ourselves. At the highest functioning, Black Moon Lilith is sovereignty and independence. At its lower functioning levels, it's fear, shame, sexual repression. There's definitely sexual energy with Black Moon Lilith and Mars. So the two together, friends, hot and spicy energy, which is great because we need it today. We are going to be working through multiple planets and asteroids at 29 degrees, which is the test degree of the cosmos, friends. In ancient astrology or Hellenistic astrology, it is known as the aneretic degree. And if you think about it, a planet enters a house at 0 degrees. It moves all the way to 29, and sometimes with a retrograde or two, it'll go back and then all the way back to 29. When it gets to 29, the cosmos, the universe, knows that you have gleaned so much wisdom and experience during that time, and now it wants to test you. So today, friends, our sun moves from 28 degrees of Gemini to 29 degrees of Gemini. So Gemini tests are abounding, and they may look like something around communication challenges, or maybe the way that you analyze information, there's something wrong there. Or for myself, having this busy bee mind where you have a list of to-dos that is a mile long, ranging from everything under the sun that you just don't think you're going to get done. That's me. Gemini is the busy bee, right? So hello tests, here we are. The great thing is, though, is that we are working with two really beautiful aspects right off the bat. The first one actually became into exact conjunct or sextile aspect yesterday. So I did talk about it in yesterday's video, so you might want to go back, but I'm going to touch on it again today because it's a big deal, friends. This is a special coming together of Taurus holding the lovely, beautiful Jupiter, our guru, our awakening planet, and then Pisces holding home to Saturn right now. Saturn is retrograde as of a few days ago. So this internal energy now, when it comes to our drive and our responsibility, our discipline and boundaries, and then Jupiter going forward in Taurus is really working to bring in a strong foundation as far as all of the physical things in our life. So these two started a very special cycle. When these two come together, it's rare, and when they do, it's about 200 years that they do, and it starts a whole new cycle depending on which house they come into. So they came into an air sign, which means that this 200-year cycle will be flavored with air qualities around our whole collective. And what this means is technology, friends. How we analyze information, how we play with information is going to be shifted so much in the next 200 years. This started in December of 2020 when Jupiter and Saturn came together in that air sign of Aquarius. So big shifts and changes. And now that they are in sextile for the next few days, friends, this is a 7-degree sextile that's holding strong for a few days. We are given this ability to really look at sustainable growth into this future of air topics, of technology, and how we balance this optimism of Jupiter and realism of Saturn to get to that sustainable growth. It is a beautiful time to look at our own careers and where we have opportunity for growth and success. It's a big shift, friends, but something that I really want to hone in on is the fact that Pisces is home to Neptune, our spiritual planet, and Saturn. And this particular house is one of spiritual advancement. It is where all 12 signs culminate into one. It is samadhi, if you know that term. It's the blending of all, of oneness. So with Saturn and Neptune here and this great conjunction that started in December, we are being asked to bring in spiritual practices into our everyday life. These spiritual practices will anchor us into that sustainable growth in our career. If you think about this air cycle we're moving into being an increase of technology, we have to, friends, first find our grounded connection in our spirituality to be able to move into these higher realms of AI and all that opens up. Okay, so our next aspect actually blends beautifully into this spiritual practice that I'm speaking to. I think today we are being asked to really hone in on what these spiritual practices look like through these tests of multiple 29-degree fun. Okay, so the first aspect we're going to talk about happens at 11:24 a.m. It is an exact trine between the moon and Neptune. The moon started at 21 degrees in Cancer this morning and has now moved to 27 degrees by 11:24 a.m. to make the trine to Neptune. A trine is a beautiful aspect, one by the nature of Jupiter. So it expands, amplifies, and awakens the energies between the two that it's bringing together. So our moon, our intuitive, sensitive, yin side of ourselves, trining to Neptune, the spiritual planet, is really amplifying our intuition, friends. Our empathy is tuned up. Our psychic visions are tuned up. So really getting into our imagination today to create these spiritual connections and practices. Honesty is an incredible quality that is available with this aspect. So getting really honest with yourself today. Are you really walking the walk when it comes to implementing spiritual practices in your life? And Pluto is going to really check in on this in the next aspect. But before I get there, I just want to share one thing I watched this weekend that reminded me so much of this aspect. So moon trining Neptune, being able to imagine where you want to be in your life and see that so clearly that one day you are exactly living that vision. Arnold Schwarzenegger, friends. I watched the Netflix 3-part series this weekend, and oh my gosh, is he an incredible example of this particular energy. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, and then you will tune in your moon trine Neptune to that higher vision of what you want to be and where you want to be. Okay, so now let's move to our next aspect. Pluto is coming into range with the moon, but it's not quite there yet. Before she makes that exact alignment by minutes, she's first going to check in with some asteroids. Her first check-in is with the asteroid Juno. But Juno is also conjunct the sun. So this check-in is with the sun and Juno together. And this happened at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The moon semi-sextiling the sun conjunct Juno. When the moon and the sun come together with a positive minor aspect, there is always this ability to balance our ego and our emotional nature. So that's rather beautiful. And then because Juno is a part of it, we also have this quality of devotion, of commitment and loyalty, even maybe this longing for faithfulness in this combination. So where does that come into your own spiritual practice? This desiring for a devoted, committed balancing of your ego and your emotions. What a beautiful semi-sextile. So at 2:30 p.m. that happened, and then shortly thereafter, she made a sextile. Our moon at 29 degrees reaches out to Taurus, where she finds the Vesta asteroid. Vesta is the eternal flame of the cosmos. It's what lights you up and brings you into your purpose every day. And so what lights you up, friends? The moon is asking you to check into those things. What nurtures you? What are your passions? And how do you infuse those into your spiritual practices that will amplify you into your highest career growth, sustainable success? Okay, so our next aspect that she makes is to Pluto. This is the big one, friends. This is where we do some deep diving in, and that honesty piece is really important. At 3:43 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, the moon at 29 degrees opposition 180 degrees apart from Pluto. Pluto being that intense energy of transformation, of shadow work, of alchemizing into our highest version, powered up level of us, is opposing the moon. So our emotional nature is being opposed by Pluto. Deep emotions are on the table here. Challenging emotions, friends, that we must face and integrate and balance. But we just had this lovely sextile that helps us to find this balance, because we might need it, because secrets often surface during this particular transits. There's inner turmoil that we need to face around our closest partnerships. The moon represents these friendships, but it's also our own body. So hardships, mood shifts, things like that could come into play around the middle of the day, 3:43 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But then she goes and makes her next connection, which is a positive aspect. It's another sextile to an asteroid called Ceres. Ceres is the asteroid of nurturing energy, of motherly energy. So how do you nurture yourself? We're coming back to this nurturing energy, right? It's really potent today. How do you set yourself up to feel emotionally secure and supported and stable? So the moon is helping you to feel these feelings today after you may have had to look at some really challenging, deep challenging feelings. All right, so our next aspect, friends, is the end one of the day. Well, actually, you know what? Before we get to that end aspect, we're going to talk about the ingress of the moon. She moves from that 29-degree point and into Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. This is the yang energy of the cosmos. Where she just was in Cancer, ruled by the moon, where she's home at, is the yin energy. So we get this like beautiful flavor today of potent yang and yin to yang, if you will, as our emotional nature now tunes into more of a confident, dominant, authentic, expressive, and playful energy in Leo. More shadowy aspects are maybe some ego stuff. The mighty lion in a shadowy aspect is a fearful lion or a self-pity lion. So these may come into play as well as we're working through the challenge of moon opposite Pluto. So loving yourself, finding these nurturing feelings that we've been given, as now the moon moves to out of 0 degrees, her ingress into Leo, into 2 degrees. This is where she'll end making an exact aspect today. She'll go 1 more degree by midnight, but at 8:40 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, our moon squares the North Node in Taurus. Our North Node is the very potent point in our chart that represents our destiny. It is our purpose in life. And so when the moon squares this, first of all, we are given an amplified intuition with this energy. But it is maybe a intuition that's off a bit. Because it's a square, there's challenge. And because it's our intuitive nature, we have to be discerning today, friends. We really need to be an advocate for ourselves as we discern through our own intuition. Because today, our insecurities, or maybe even impulses, because Mars is conjunct Black Moon Lilith, there is very strong impulsivity in the cosmos today. So tuning in with discernment into your higher life plan, your destiny. Where are you maybe allowing your insecurities to be speaking as your intuition? They're not your intuition. They're actually pretending to be. That's the kind of energy that is available with the square to the North Node and the moon. So really working in that discernment, friends, as you work through all of the tests around nurturing yourself and setting up that spiritual practice that will help you to drive into this new paradigm. You know, Jupiter and Saturn are really paving the way for a whole new being. And this day, friends, is asking you to nurture yourself through the challenges to be your best advocate. So I wish you all of the best as you work through that. And I will be back with you tomorrow on Wednesday. We'll talk about who rules Wednesday, and we'll also dive into the exact aspects of tomorrow. So wishing you the best, sending you so much love. Mwah.